Kyrie Irving's epic fourth quarter delivers a win for the Mavericks to finish their road trip on a high note in hot Atlanta. We break it all down here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella, and our national NBA insider, Mark Stein. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, coming your favorite team every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line. The Mavericks finish up their three-game road trip on a high note with a 129-119 win over the Atlanta Hawks. Kyrie Irving dropping 16 of his 32 points in the fourth quarter. The Mavericks knocking down 6 threes, and they get it done with a 10-point win. And the guys with a lot of illnesses were able to overcome it. Naji Marshall, fantastic game. We break it all down here for you over the next hour plus as the Mavericks move to 10-8 on the season. Really appreciate all of you joining us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel while you're here. Let us know your thoughts on the Mavericks getting a gutsy win, sick with it, if you will, as they get it done in hot Atlanta, gentlemen. A gutsy win for a team that needed one after what happened last night in South Beach.
Different tone, I think, we're going to have on this show than we did on the pregame show.
Never a doubt.
Never a doubt. Look, when Mark Stein says it's never in doubt, then what
we
are you
have
going to
no
do?
choice
Not
but to believe.
Yeah.
Man, today we spell redemption D-I-N-W-I-D-D-I-E. Shout out to Spencer
Who gets that shot?
Dinwiddie.
Let's go. Oh, he gets the double
both?
cold one. Okay.
Yeah, well, hydration is important, so I have a water as well. But yeah, I mean, last
You have
night,
2 waters. You're drinking Shiner.
Last night, I think. Okay. Last night, I think. Y'all were very fired up on the post-game pod about the coaching decisions and the shot selection and a lot of things. And last night feels like a distant memory now. Dinwiddie made some shots. I thought he was aggressive. I thought he played well. Obviously, he made his shots, which matters a lot. Kyrie just completely took the game over. That's what the great ones do, and they got to win. And I said on the post-game or the pregame show, said if you get a win tonight, it's the best win of the season. I was kind of joking, but dude, given the circumstances, given the mysterious illness floating around the locker room, the number of guys that were missing, guys that left the game, Naji Marshall played but didn't sprint for the last half because he was sick too. What a win! What a win!
We got some answers tonight to some of the questions that were raised last night. One of the questions that came up on the show that you were absent from: why did Spencer Dinwiddie play the entire fourth quarter in overtime? Why didn't we see Quentin Grimes? I think today we got our answer. He was already starting to, he was ruled out tonight for sickness. I think some of the illness was already seeping in by the second half last night. Why did Jason Kidd stick so long with Spencer Dinwiddie when Spencer Dinwiddie had just a miserable shooting night in Miami? 1 for 12 from the field, 0 for 9 from 3. No matter what happens, Spencer Dinwiddie does not get shaken from continuing to be aggressive and take them. And tonight, when they needed not just a shot maker, obviously you always need a shot maker, but in today's NBA, you do need just the mere shot taking is important too. And he was undaunted by the 0 for 9 and bounces back, like you said, with a 4 for 7 from deep. And it is his, Kyrie Irving is the star, but redemption for Dinwiddie. And Maxi Kleber very quietly had a big role in this game. Someone else who just had a miserable experience in Miami, only got 9 minutes, basically played himself off the floor. And then you saw the things that Maxi Kleber can do and why this coaching staff still believes in him so much.
Made a three, made a block in the fourth quarter, had a dunk down the stretch.
Double pump dunk.
Derek Lively left the game with an illness, so Maxey kind of had to close. It was either him or Gafford. Gafford played a lot of minutes, and I didn't think he was super effective on defense, and so they went with Kleba down the stretch. Mark, it's a good point that you bring up about Dinwiddie because so many times throughout the Luka era, the Mavs have had wings or guards or role players on regardless position on the team that when they miss a few shots, they will not take the next one. And that could linger on for days or for weeks or for months. It's happened with Maxey. It's happened with Josh Green.
Yeah.
Spencer Dinwiddie is not afraid to take a stand.
Never get shy.
Never.
Shoot or shoot.
Never shy.
And Spencer Dinwiddie continued to shoot. As much criticism as I levied toward him last night, obviously, he played very well tonight. One of the turning points of this game, which we'll get to during the next segment, was the third quarter where Spencer Dinwiddie was able to take over, knocking down threes. His passing with P.J. Washington as well really helped turn this game around. But the Mavericks got hot from the three-point line, especially in that fourth quarter, going 6 of 9 from downtown, went 13 of 19 overall from the field in that fourth quarter. Kyrie Irving, I said it during the pregame show, my man might have to go get 40 tonight for the Mavericks to be able to win this game. He damn near got close with his 32 that he had. And
after starting 1 for 8. I mean, he was clearly laboring early. And
he was 4 of 19.
In certain situations, probably wouldn't have played in this game. Guts it out when he's sick. And then in the fourth quarter, just goes to that Kyrie place despite the illness when he's just untouchable.
You just had to sweat it out. Just needed those first 19 shots. He was 4 of 19.
He was 4 for 19, and then he made 7 of his last 9.
Yeah.
That's
scored half his points in the fourth quarter.
Included going, 4 for 4 from downtown in that period. And give the Mavericks credit, a gutsy effort on the road after what was a disappointing overtime loss last night to Miami. They finish up this road trip at 2-1, now 10-8 on the season as they get ready to come home to take on the New York Knicks on Wednesday, hopefully getting closer to Luka-Doncic's return as he's dealing with that wrist injury. But a lot of guys stepped up big, and one guy that we can't get out of the first segment without talking about. At times, it looked rather ugly for the young man, but Jaden Hardy came up big. He had 23 points in this game. I thought tonight was going to be kind of a wild night because on the very first possession of the game, my man smoked the pass 2 rows into the first, set of seats.
He hit a lady in the head.
Yeah, in the first quarter on the very first possession, and it felt like it might be a long night for Jaden Hardy, but give him credit for bouncing back. He finishes the game with 23 points, goes 5 of 7 from the free throw line. He was able to overcome what was 6 turnovers, bad turnovers at times. But this is the kind of effort that you needed from him in a game where he got the start and was able to come up with some really nice shots and some plays when the Mavericks needed to in this game.
Yeah, and I was kind of messing around on the pregame show, kind of half joking, but because Atlanta is so good at forcing turnovers, there was concern that this was a game that Jaden Hardy was going to come into, and maybe he would have more turnovers than made shots. And as it turns out, he still came kind of close with 6 turnovers, 8 made shots, which is just an incredibly Jaden Hardy stat line. But look, we said it on the pregame show. Mm-hmm. They needed him to make shots again.
Yes.
And I think a 23 points and the shots he was able to finally to get to fall, like that's more important to me. That's what really stood out from him game. Some of the turnovers were still parts of his game that you hope he irons out. But look, 23 points in an NBA game, in a game that they needed that. They needed contributors to step up, to step in. They needed shot takers, like you said, Mark. So, yeah, just really, really important, necessary minutes.
I know you guys are not going to believe me. I can't prove it. I can't tell you who it was. But I promise you, as reliably as this iPhone cord charger is, I actually told a Mavs staffer in Atlanta today when I kind of got wind of Hardy's going to get a big chance. Or I didn't know he was going to start, but I knew he was going to get a big look. And I told this person, I just have Hardy scoring 25 tonight. I was only 2 off.
Yeah.
Imagine
So
the
you're
sl-
wrong.
Imagine
Yeah.
the sleeper damage
Interesting.
I almost could have done with that projection.
So you said he was going to score 25. He didn't. Are you even reliable?
It was really important that
unbelievable, Mark.
he got off to a pretty good start. There were a lot of turnovers.
Yes.
The first half, please don't ever make me talk about what I saw in the second quarter ever again in my life. But
Worst second quarter of your life?
oh, it was brutal, man. It was brutal. But Kyrie started really slow. Naji was pretty good, but he was in and out. Obviously, he was physically pretty limited by whatever was going on.
I mean, he came out in the second half holding his stomach. Like,
Yeah.
you could tell he was not feeling well
And
at all.
Lively was a non-factor in the first half. Kind of the
Yes.
same thing. He ended up not playing the second half. No one started super good. No one was doing the good basketball.
They were doing the bad basketball.
They were doing bad basketball.
bad.
Hardy had 15 points on 12 shots. So, in the second half, as Kyrie took over and Dinwiddie took over, Hardy kind of took more of a backseat. But hey, I mean, points are just as valuable. Like I always say, points are just as valuable in the first half as they are in the fourth quarter. And, Hardy getting off to a really good start is one of the reasons why they stayed attached, because there was a lot of junctures in the game where it could have gone south very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But it never did.
I just want to say I love every chatter who tells us where they are. Even if it's Addison, even if it's Salina, even if it's Dallas. Of course, I get excited when it's the exotic faraway locations. But I love that this has become a show tradition now. We want to know where you're checking in from
Heck
because
yeah.
it's just cool. So thank you. Thank you to everyone for letting us know where you are dialing in from.
We got a few people from Melbourne.
Yeah,
Melbourne?
from Australia.
You
Yeah,
don't say
checking
the
in.
R.
Saw Philippines
You don't
in
say
there.
the R, right? Melbourne?
Yeah, I mean that's a good. I
do you
should
really
know
not?
that.
Melbourne? It's either Melbourne or Melbourne. Spell it. Spell
would
it
you
Either
phonetically.
way, they
I've
check
never
it
heard this in
in.
my entire life.
I'm pretty sure it's Melbourne.
Australians, clarify that for us, please.
Yes,
I guess they're going to help us out.
Look at
here.
that, Dominican Republic.
Let's go.
Oh, let's go.
Appreciate you, Roger, hanging out with us here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. One thing also that the Mavericks did much better in the final three quarters than they did in the first quarter. The Mavericks had 8 turnovers in the first quarter.
Oh my God, my stomach hurts.
But guess what? They only had 9 for the rest of the game.
My stomach feels better.
They should feel much better. Again, a team in Atlanta who steals the ball quite a bit. They got the number 1 steals guy in the league, top 2 in the NBA in steals overall per game as a team. Atlanta likes to turn you over, and they did so a lot in that first quarter, but the Mavericks valued the ball much better throughout the final 3 quarters of the game. You think about what the Mavericks did from a scoring perspective as well. They were down 31-28 at the end of one. They scored 33 points in the second quarter. Yes, I know they lost the second quarter 36-33, but they scored 33 in the second, 35 in the third, and another 33 in the fourth quarter to get to the 129 that they had. And how devastatingly efficient they were in the fourth quarter. This team put up a lot of points for a team that was missing Quentin Grimes, that was missing Klay Thompson. That talks about the amount of contributions that you got, especially from Naji Marshall as well. Third straight game with at least 20 points for Naji Marshall coming up big once again.
We got Nepali and Indonesia in here.
Let's go.
This is worldwide.
We are a worldwide
this
phenomenon.
Is worldwide.
The total points in this game, believe it or not, okay. Don't cheat. What would you guess the Mavs' defensive rating was in this game? They allowed 119 points.
already
What would you
saw
guess
it.
their defense? Barnacles.
Okay, I'll guess. I'll go 128.
The Mavs' defensive rating in this game was 105
I have
due
it
to
as
the sheer numbers of
107.
107. It says 105.3 in here. 107. Oh well,
I'm
they
using-
do it differently.
Yeah, I'm using
So
clean to the glass.
according to Hoops OMG, which is a database, it's 105. It'll be a little different on NBA.com, but that is a really good defensive game. The tape will tell you otherwise. I saw some really horrific stuff out there tonight, but the Mavs forced a lot of turnovers. Mm-hmm. They did not allow a lot of second chances. Atlanta only had 9 second chance points, and the game was played at a breakneck pace. And so, on a points per possession basis, the Mavs had one of their better performances of the season tonight, which again, I don't believe it. I'm mystified.
Atlanta also
But-
shot 29% on threes.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dallas had much to do with that. Threes go in, they don't go in. There was a lot of open looks. Not all of them fell for Atlanta. They fell early. They didn't really
Mavs
fall
finally had a
late.
good night too. 45% from 3.
Yeah. It's much better from 3.
I mean,
You're not going to lose many games when you shoot like that.
no, you're not.
Especially when you go 6 of 9 from 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Which was the opposite in the Miami game.
Exactly.
They went 0 for a million.
Yes.
If they would have made 1 3, they win that game.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
Should
I know.
should have swept this road trip.
Yeah.
Should
Hey, we're going to
should
focus
have-
on the positives.
So
We're
is
gonna
Miami
focus
the
on
new Utah?
positives.
Is Miami the new Utah? No.
Utah remains Utah.
Yeah,
What's it going to be
Utah
like
was different.
Saturday when the Mavs go to Utah?
Hey, let's not talk
you
about
serious?
that. Y'all doing a lot. We're not going to talk about that right now.
Saturday night.
Oh, House of Horrors.
The Mavericks won 129 to 119. By the way, the Mavericks now move to 10-0 when leading after 3 quarters this season as the Mavericks get it done to finish 2-1 on their road trip. Coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show, the turning points in this game, the moments that defined a win for the Mavericks on the road against Atlanta, and how one Spencer Dinwiddie found redemption from the three-point line in tonight's game. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
Kevin, it was a win for the Mavs tonight, but it was also a win for ya boy on the Sleeper app. It's the best fantasy league platform out there, but you can also put your ball knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players. Trae Young will have more or less than their projected stats each game.
What was your winning hand?
I picked Kyrie Irving to have at least 40 points plus rebounds plus assists, which he got with the late 3. Trae Young to get a double-double. Heck yeah. I had P.J. Washington to make a 3. He made one in the fourth quarter, very clutch. And I picked Dyson Daniels to have more than 2.5 steals plus blocks, and he had 4.
What are you
Shout
gonna
out
do?
So
Dyson
that's
Daniels.
why that when PJ made that random corner 3, you were sprinting around.
That's
I was
right.
very happy. And like I said, I won my little play, and so I will be on a boat with Klay Thompson celebrating with my winnings off the coast of Tahiti very soon. If you want to join in on the fun, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Mavs for a limited time. They'll match 100% up to 1,500 buckaroos. It's their best ever. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational over 25 states.
And floors. Do you think they have floors out in Tahiti?
I hope so.
Tahiti?
I love floors.
I hope they have Empire Today's floors, because with Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience. You get the right product for your needs. You get quick and professional installation, and you get a low price guarantee. It's the best place to get new flooring. So yes, they're going to have copycats, going to have people coming in trying to do what they do. But they can't be beaten on Empire. Empire cannot be beaten on quality, service, speed. So competitors advertising low quality products, Empire's just not going to carry that. They're not going to promise the lowest prices, because anybody who does that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DLLS. Restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/DLLS for details.
What were the turning points in this game for the Dallas Mavericks as they win 129 to 119 over the Atlanta Hawks? 2 big moments in this game. Kyrie Irving's massive fourth quarter leads the Mavericks to a win with a lot of guys dealing with illness. They find a way to get it done on the road. Gentlemen, let's jump into it. Obviously, a team that was shorthanded, missing several guys. Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, Derek Lively II had to leave the game and did not come back in the second half with illness himself. Spencer Dinwiddie, let's start there in the third quarter, finding redemption, especially from the three-point line. Like I said last night, much of the criticism toward him with the amount of shots that he missed in the fourth quarter and overtime periods where the Mavericks lost to the Miami Heat. But his run starting in that third quarter, the Mavs were down 84-77 with 5:48 left, and all of a sudden, Spencer Dinwiddie goes on an 11-2 run, I should say, scoring 9 points, assisting on another bucket to P.J. Washington. He scored or assisted on all 11 of those points in that 11-2 run as the Mavericks were able to take a lead at 88-86 with 3:32 left in that third quarter. And Bobby, you had started to mention it. That felt like a game where the Mavericks were able to seize the momentum, and it was led by Spencer Dinwiddie with that massive third quarter that he had.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 of those spots in the third quarter where things started feeling a little precarious. So obviously, Naji comes out of the break looking awful. News break, like physically. I don't mean in terms of like skill. I mean, he did not
Or
look
like attractiveness.
No, he looked great tonight. He just didn't look like he felt good. Derek Lively's out with illness. The whole team looked exhausted. First possession of the third quarter, Trae Young just walks into an open 3, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to fall apart so quickly. Atlanta ends up going up 77-66. They kind of trade buckets for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's 84-77. And it's like, you have one, this can go one of 2 ways right now. You either climb the mountain and make this a game, or what is happening continues to happen, and you're down 20, and it's Jay-Z and Gortman time. Which, by the way, he got in the game anyway and played great. Shout out Jays Gortman. But
5 minutes.
Dinwiddie just completely took over. He took a bunch of corner threes. He's always been a really good corner three-point shooter. He did make one from the wing, kind of slightly above the break later in the game, but he's always been, no matter what his percentage is for the season, he has always been a really, really good corner three shooter. Made a few of them in a row, had a nice assist, like you said. And so the Mavs went from down as many as 11 to up, and it kind of just steadied the ship. And it's like, all right, guys, we're good. And then after that, Naji came back in and looked better. I don't know if he went back to the locker room real quick. I don't know what happened, but he looked like a different guy in the fourth quarter, and Kyrie took over. And, that is like the ideal version of what we thought and what we hoped Spencer Dinwiddie could be whenever the Mavs added him, as a guy who, if Luka or Kyrie or, worst case scenario, both are out, he can kind of get you by. He can be a bridge guy, Kyrie could not play all 48 tonight. Dinwiddie had a really, really nice run, and then Kyrie took the torch from there and carried him over the finish line.
Yes, that was exactly what I was going to say. We've covered a lot of this ground before, but just to reiterate, if you go back to the summertime, the Mavs strongly considered bringing back Dennis Smith Jr., who remains a free agent. They took a look at Talen Horton-Tucker, who ended up in Chicago, but their thinking was exactly what you just said. We know Luka and Kyrie are probably going to miss 10 games each, maybe more. On those nights, Spencer Dinwiddie, and remember, less than a week ago against New Orleans, I don't think he played a second in that game. There will be nights they don't play him at all. He's the 11th man, but when they need him to start or come off the bench and play a primary role like this, and again, after an 0 for 9, he can flush it, forget about it, and play his normal, fully aggressive game. And tonight, the Mavs absolutely reap the benefits from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you give him a lot of credit. Again, when you have a poor performance as Spencer Dinwiddie did last night, and to be able to put it behind you, come back professionally on the second night of a back-to-back, and have the kind of impact that he did, especially in that third quarter, this is a big reason why the Mavericks have him on this team, a guy that was in a lot of ways maligned for coming back here, maybe not having some of the same game that he used to, but he was able to dial it up big for the Mavericks in that third quarter. And yes, Charlie, fair to start including Dinwiddie in the Mavericks' big three.
Charlie
Relax.
Saturday said, and I saw an earlier quote, he said, tried to tell you. What did he tell us?
Your man Charlie was trolling us during the pregame show, talking about we were sleeping on Spencer Dinwiddie's game, and all of a sudden Spencer Dinwiddie proves him right tonight. And
I respect the move.
Yeah, I respect the move. That's a bold move, Charlie, and you were proven right tonight.
So Charlie, the Bucks fan, is dialing in from Wisconsin to pregame and post.
That's right.
Hey, we welcome fans from every
say that he might be considering transferring his fandom to the Mavs. I don't know.
Go.
It's what it looks like. I mean,
well, if you keep
I take that back. Sources didn't say that. Teams are monitoring Charlie to see. Teams are monitoring Charlie to see if his fandom is in play to be.
If you're not careful, Charlie Saturday is going to end up on NBA Central's Twitter feed.
It's not surprising that he would choose a team with a big three like Dallas's, though.
I mean, that is true.
That is true. Kyrie Irving, Naji Marshall, and now Spencer Dinwiddie. That is a pretty good core.
Teams are monitoring.
That's fun. It's enjoyable to watch. Fans like to see a big three like that. They like to see dominance. They like to see the spectacle of it.
Different player led the team in scoring every quarter tonight. How about that? First quarter, Naji. Second quarter, Hardy. Third quarter, Dinwiddie. Fourth quarter, Kyrie. If that ain't a team win, I don't know what is. And I don't know if Kevin, you probably said this, but 4 players scored 20 points.
Yes,
in this game. First time in almost a year that's happened.
Yeah, it happened in January of last year.
Something tells me this will be an easy
season.
Trivia question for this panel, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. What is the Mavericks' record on the second night of a back-to-back this season?
Ooh,
I'm gonna go 3-1.
Yeah, I don't think the
3-1 is correct.
3-1.
Super Kevin Gray.
Super Kevin
Now,
Gray. Bonus points. Name the games.
Minnesota.
Oh God, that's a good one.
Oklahoma City.
Oh my
that's pretty
God,
good.
I forgot about that.
And
one.
tonight.
What was the loss?
What was the loss before OKC?
The loss before OKC was Utah?
No, that wasn't a back-to-back.
No.
Was that a back-to-back?
Was it Indiana?
No,
it was Indiana.
Home win over
San Antonio,
then a road win over OKC.
Yeah, and then it was Indiana because you beat Orlando and then lost to Indiana.
That's right.
Yeah, it was the Jamal Rick Bowl. The
Shout
coach
out Mavs Film Room. That's where I saw the stat.
And look, let's get to the other turning point in this game as well. We mentioned the big one in the third quarter with the Mavericks getting a massive period from Spencer Dinwiddie. We got to turn our attention to the fourth quarter because the Mavericks were down 104 to 103 after Bogdanovic's three-pointer with 8:44 left. The Mavericks turned it on and went on what was a 12-3 run to lead 115 to 107 with 6 minutes left after Kyrie Irving's three-pointer. Kyrie went smooth off in that fourth quarter. He scored 11 of the first 19 points for the Mavericks as they led 115 to 107 with 6 minutes left. They were able to get another three-pointer from P.J. Washington that Bobby Karalla celebrated like the Mavericks won the finals because he was able to get what he needed from Sleeper tonight. That put him up 10 at 121 to 111. But the shot making, the creativity, but most importantly, Kyrie Irving, who was not feeling well himself, put that behind him in what was a poor shooting night in the first three quarters and really turned it on and dialed it up. And Bobby, you talk about it all the time, the way that Kyrie Irving is able to play with the savant nature at which he goes about the game. This time it was his shot making from deep that saved the Mavericks and really gave them this win tonight.
He just always knows when to turn it on. He just always knows what is needed in the moment, you know. And I thought down the stretch of that Miami game last night, he looked exhausted, and that made me really nervous about the game tonight because normally whenever Kyrie just starts chucking threes, it's a sign that he just there's not that like that top gear that he needs to just blow past guys and make them disappear, you know.
But tonight you had reason to question if he had that gear to go to.
The illness.
That's the thing.
Yeah, for the whole game.
Like I knew he started 1 for 8. I didn't realize it was 4 for 19. Like that was not really the setup you would have expected to the kind of closing flourish.
Such a back
and like I
forth
said,
game.
I kind of heard this whisper pregame that like if they weren't already shorthanded, maybe he doesn't even go tonight. And they weren't just shorthanded; they were missing the guy who scored 73 points in this same fixture last season, as we would call it in English soccer. So
they would have had 200 if Luka played it.
That's right. They probably would have.
To pull this thing out for Kyrie to that fourth quarter display was world class.
But he managed to have some left in the tank. You know, like it's just I don't know how he does it, man. I don't know how he does it.
This is the second most shots he's ever taken in a Mavericks uniform. Wow, 28.
Wow,
like 28 really stood out to me. I had to go look it up, and for him to do that sick and to do that, you know, when Dallas is shorthanded and when he starts poor and when he's not 100%, but just shot takers. You're 100% right about this, Stein. Like, shot takers. Sometimes you just have to go and you look at Kyrie and you know that him taking those shots down the stretch in the fourth quarter, that's a better option than anything Dallas had at that point. You know, even the players that had got them to that point were running out of gas. And then here comes Kyrie, with just enough to get them over the finish line.
Man, no post-game quotes yet. I want some quotes.
What the heck is going on?
I want to hear I want to hear some reactions.
I mean, if they're all sick, maybe they're.
I'm about to say they probably getting IVs and whatnot after the game was over.
They make a joke. They should just bring out like 5 or 10 of those IVs on the bench and just pump guys up during the timeouts.
Before we take our next break, let's get to our super chats that we've got. We got a couple in there. Let's start with let's start with GM
Ben. I got you, man. Don't worry.
With the $1.99 super chat, Bobby remembered to put the turkey in the fridge.
Don't worry, I got you.
Why is the turkey not already in the fridge?
That's a great question.
It had to de-thaw.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the turkeys do.
Tomorrow's Friendsgiving in the DLS studio, so we're gonna have a good time during the Ranger show. Starts at noon.
Let's get
also enemies giving.
Friendsgiving.
Okay. Let's go to Francel Brito, who
Family
says,
giving. I don't
with the
have friends like
$1.99 super chat, wait a minute. Are we mashing up all together?
I love it.
Naji Marshall has restored my mental health.
Hey.
Well, we're glad that they were able to do that for you on this night. Because
is Naji Marshall just not like the coolest player ever?
I've said it before.
He scores 20 a game off floaters. Like, that's awesome.
I mean,
he's knocking down threes, though, now. Like, he can't stop making threes.
Naji
That's true. He is no Naji Marshall.
He doesn't really compare to
Naji
him.
left Dallas with 4 threes for the season, and he comes home with 12.
Oh, my God.
That's hilarious.
And his toe was on the line for one. And how about that block by PJ at the very end of the game, too?
Yes.
Like, just coming in from
8
out of
threes
nowhere.
in the last 3 games for Naji Marshall. The knife!
Jeez, man. It is. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Mavericks,
what a story.
What's the story behind the knife? That's a great. I love that nickname. Where did
Willie Green was asked. He was describing a different player as a Swiss Army knife, and then the follow up was asked to him, to Willie Green, well, what does that make Naji? And he says, well, Naji is just a knife.
The knife.
And then it stuck.
The knife.
I wish I knew that when I saw Willie a week ago. I would have given him props for that. Next
Bring
time
him
I
on
see
the
the
pod.
next time I see the Pelicans,
They'll be
I have
back.
to-
They'll be back.
The knife.
Let's take our next break here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. More on how it was a complete and total team effort for the Mavericks to get this win, and inside some of the numbers that helped the Mavericks take out Atlanta for the road win. All that and more coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show.
They say first impressions are important, but what about lasting impressions? That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew helps give men longer lasting and stronger erections so you can perform at your very best. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in a chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. No doctor's office, no awkward convos with strangers, no waiting in the line at the pharmacy, and you can take these at any time, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Does it work? Don't think you need it? Try it free for a month and see. You're going to love it. Your partner's going to love it too. You could be missing out on the best sex of your life, and we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code ALLCITY at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. BlueChew.com, promo code ALLCITY to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and safety information, and we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the pod.
Let's talk about Rugged Road real quick. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions, whether you're on land or water. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. I'm sure the Mavericks use some of these Rugged Road coolers that you see beside me to keep the IVs in that they needed tonight to be able to get the win against the Atlanta Hawks. They have lightweight design to the Rugged Road coolers. Unlike other heavy-duty coolers, Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance, especially when you need to take them to hot Atlanta. Make sure you gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. They're reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Make sure you head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off. Again, ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off today. That is ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Inside some of the numbers for the Mavericks when it came to this win tonight, as they were able to get the 10-point road win over Atlanta. 4 guys with over 20 points in this game, including Naji Marshall. Some of the numbers coming in from the Mavericks detailing some of the ways that this got done for them. 4 players scored 20-plus points for the Mavericks in the win. Kyrie Irving with his 32. Jaden Hardy with his season-high 23 points. Spencer Dinwiddie with a season-high 22 points. Naji Marshall with 22 as well. It marked the first time, gentlemen, since January 29th of 2024 versus Orlando that Dallas had 4 20-point scorers in the same game. Jaden Hardy, by the way, scored 20 points in 5 of his first 13 career starts. He was able to be a big contributor, but that just underscores and highlights how many guys had to contribute in a win where you did not have Klay Thompson, where you didn't have Quentin Grimes. Derek Lively misses the second half due to illness. Everyone came up big, and they found their individual moments to be able to impact this game the way that they did.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at PJ Washington's page, and it's so baffling to me that last season with the Mavericks, he averaged 11.7 points per game. And this season, he is averaging exactly 11.7.
That's it? I guess he did have that one scoreless game.
But it's also the
in San
exact
Antonio.
it's the exact same numbers, which is funny to me. He also averages exactly 1.0 steals and 1.0 blocks per game.
Wow.
In his career.
Sounds like
Wow.
consistency.
In his career.
Sounds
1.0
like
on both.
In games like these, you need everybody to step up.
Yeah.
You know, we've already, like everyone knows the lengthy injury list for the Mavs, but by the end of this game, the Mavs were missing Luka. They were missing Quentin Grimes and Dante Exum already. They were missing Klay Thompson. They were missing Derek Lively. Those are 5 of your top 9 guys, maybe, depending on how you feel about Grimes, maybe top 8, top 9, top 10. We saw the Mavs drop a bunch of games, now granted against better teams than Atlanta, but under different circumstances, home or road, not on the second night of a back-to-back, But they got it done. They just had guys step up, and like we can retroactively, and this was true in the moment, but like we can praise Kyrie for keeping some in reserve until the fourth quarter. But that doesn't matter if Jaden Hardy doesn't have 15 in the first half, if Naji Marshall doesn't go for 20 again, if Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't pull them from a pretty hairy spot in the third quarter.
Do you go British there?
Well, I was gonna say thorny, and then I said hairy, but yeah.
It sounded like you were trying to go British.
No, pretty hairy. No,
Yeah.
Sorry. You need guys to step up, and I've said it a million times. I'm gonna patent the phrase. Depth can only be depth when depth is depth. And when you're down 5 of your top 8 or 9 guys, sorry, you don't have any depth.
Yeah.
The Mavs had
Gortman.
Yeah, they did. They had
Gortman off the bench. That's
they had Goatman tonight.
And he was a
Mavs,
plus.
in
Yeah.
this game, okay.
Legitimately.
In this game, the Mavs had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys play more than 10 minutes. 7 guys. They basically, because Lively only played 10:57, they got 5 minutes of run from Goatman and 4 from Omax. They played a 7-man rotation on the second night of a back-to-back, third in 4 days, where the first game was in Denver, the second game was in Miami. That's like a 5-hour flight, and then another flight to Atlanta. Like, there's no reason they should have won this game. There's no reason, but they don't do that unless every single player comes up with a big play.
And PJ Washington Jr., the one guy that continues to play extremely well, along with some other guys, obviously, notched 11 points and 10 rebounds for his third straight game with a double-double, a feat he's only done one other time in his career. By the way, gentlemen, in his last 5 games, PJ Washington averaging 17 points per game, shooting nearly 47% from the field, nearly 39% from 3, over 91% from the free throw line, and also, boys and girls, getting 11.2 rebounds per contest over the last 5 games. We've talked about it plenty. Bobby, you've mentioned it. Tim, you confirmed it as well, and we've talked about it plenty. PJ Washington is arguably the most indispensable player on this team, and it's been great to watch his value continue to grow and the versatility at which he is playing on both ends of the floor. This only bodes well for this team continuing for the rest of the year about the confidence at which he's playing with and how he is fitting and playing the role that exactly the Mavericks are needing him to, and the consistency at which he's starting to do it with night in and night out. That's big for this Mavericks team moving forward here.
Yeah, and that's why I was looking up, his stats and mentioning. It's so crazy to me that this is a, maybe not crazy, but it's so impressive to me that PJ Washington, he's a guy that people had a lot of doubts about in Charlotte. Does he actually impact winning? Is this a player who, makes the teams around him better? Sure isn't making Charlotte better right now. Is he a scorer? Is he a bench player? And then he comes to Dallas, and he is just the literal definition of what you need your dirty work role player to be. He's coming up with the blocks at the end of games. He is right now on a rebounding tear. After what were we talking about the entire season? For like the first 10 games, for the first 3 weeks, Dallas cannot rebound the basketball. And then PJ Washington comes back and like literally by himself has fixed this offensive rebounding problem that Dallas had by himself. And he just, to develop a post game, to add like post moves on top of, and he's always had that a little bit, but to use that as a weapon, to make a 3-pointer tonight, which, he's still shooting a very, very poor percentage. 26% for the
I just
season.
said he's shooting 39% from 3 in his last 5 games. Just go with that.
Yeah. In the last 5 games, he's a Klay Thompson level shooter. But it's just it really is. It's genuinely so impressive to see this guy come here and lock in. He came here. He looked around. He saw what this team was. Saw what they were asking out of him, and he locked in. And that's what Dallas needed. I think we forget already. Okay, we probably don't forget. You guys our listeners are very smart. They remember everything.
Yes.
But when Dallas went on its 4-game losing streak, PJ was out for most of that.
That's right.
And that was as much a reason that Dallas kept losing as anything else.
It's no coincidence that the Mavericks have been playing better with PJ Washington back in the lineup with the versatility that he's brought. In fact, we've got folks in the chat dropping in PJ Pippen references.
PJ Pippen.
Yeah.
And he's posting up and stuff now too quite a bit. And you know, if you're going to be a title winning team now, you have to have good players throughout your roster. Like you can't just have like the one guy anymore or the two guys. Like you have to have a bunch of quality players. But you know, in 2021, it was the Bucks that won, and like Bobby Portis was this sort of like combo four that played above his size, but also could shoot like a wing and sort of like he could do a little bit of everything. 2022, some dude named Draymond Green, but also Andrew Wiggins played great. 2023, it was Aaron Gordon. 2024, it was Jason Tatum. Like, you know, these unheralded wings, like Jason's just kidding. But, you know, the
like the entire team is what it was.
Until the Celtics assembled one of the greatest starting fives of all time, like quality, super ultra role player fours were on every title team, you know. And if you go back to the Lakers, I mean, it was AD was kind of the four, but also they would have like Kyle Kuzma, you know, or some other, like Markieff Morris got a lot of run for them throughout that playoff run. Like,
what's he up to these days?
Oh, he's on the Mavs.
Oh,
would you believe that?
That's right.
So you need that like switchy kind of not the knife. You need a Swiss Army knife at the floor that can guard bigs, that can guard wings, that can guard smalls, that can run the floor and block shots and make steals and post up and shoot threes and create off the dribble and attack in transition. Like you have to do many small things. Yeah, and there's only so many guys that can do all those things. You know, and PJ Washington is one of them. Like he is kind of becoming like the perfect ideal role player.
Let me talk. Give me a two-shot real quick.
He's a star in his role. He's Sean Marion. Like he's that kind of guy.
Look at that. And he's playing the
Mavs era Sean Marion. Phoenix era Sean Marion is a Hall of Famer. PJ Washington is not that yet.
Yeah, he's playing well.
It's good that you added that.
He clarified it.
If Tricks heard that, woo!
Oh, no. Sean Marion is my guy, and that guy should be in the Hall of Fame.
He will be in the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
He better be.
Tricks, we're working on it.
Tanner, give me that two-shot real quick because, look, as much as I crushed Spencer Dinwiddie last night, the Mavericks were playing in South Beach. It reminds me of this great movie called Bad Boys, starring Will Smith and also Martin Lawrence. And there's a scene in there where at one point Martin Lawrence starts doing his thing and they're driving through the streets of Miami and Will Smith turns over to his partner, just like how I'm about to turn to Tim and act like he's Spencer Dinwiddie. That's how you drive. That's how you drive, Spencer Dinwiddie. That's how you play. How you didn't play last night, that's how you play.
I'm not Spencer, though.
But you're acting like it in the moment. Just channel your Martin Lawrence. That's how you play, Spencer Dinwiddie.
We don't really look alike.
You're missing the point. Just go with it, damn it. Just go with it, okay? That's how you play Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm excited that he was able to bounce back with a bit. In all seriousness, he needed to have that bounce back performance. His teammates picked him up as well. But Spencer Dinwiddie, shout out to you. As much as I crushed you last night, and well-deservedly so, you came up big for this team and played well for the Mavericks, knocking down a bunch of threes. And I'm just saying, he earns some praise tonight.
Can I interrupt the positivity with one annoying gripe, just to be annoying basketball watch man?
Why would you do this?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, why would you do this?
No. This is it could be an important development. Okay. The Mavs are very shorthanded. They're lacking the juice. Atlanta wants to play fast. Dallas sat in a zone, and their communication on it was very suspicious at times, and the Hawks burned them. The Hawks scored 76 points in the paint. Do you understand how difficult it is to win a game when you allow 76 points in the paint? So first off, kudos to the Mavs for doing that, but they allowed 76 points in the paint against the Pacers, and we sat here reaming them after that game for how poor of a defensive effort that was. You know, Dallas, when they're healthy, they have the personnel to switch a lot of stuff. Tonight, they did not have the personnel to do that. They had to do some unconventional things, and they made a lot of mistakes. They survived. That's okay. But that'll be a work in progress throughout the season on those nights whenever you do have to play super small. You can't match size. You don't have the personnel to switch 1 through 5 or even 1 through 4. Like, this was a kind of a learning experience, I think, for a lot of the guys. And hopefully the next time they play zone, it wasn't that bad. I was just responding. There was someone in the comments that said, like, how did they get so many easy buckets or whatever? So I was just kind of responding to that. It was a little terrifying at times, but we all learned a lesson.
Hey, but Max and Cleveland saved the day with blocking shots and PJ blocking shots at the rim. Defensively, they was able to get after it in that fourth quarter, and offensively, they could not miss from the field thanks to the incredible shot making from Kyrie Irving and yes, Spencer Dinwiddie throughout the course of the game as well. We got over 330 folks watching us live right now.
Let's go.
If you're in here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports. We're less than 300 away from making 11,000 subscribers here at
I like
DLLS
that.
Sports.
I like
Please
that.
help us with the likes wherever you are watching from around the world. It's just one little click.
Just
so
Please
easy.
like the video, subscribe to DLLS Sports, and also make sure you're downloading and subscribing to the podcast as well. Give those a 5-star rating and write a review for those while you're there, and make sure you're downloading the DLLS Mavs podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. Let's take our final break here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show as we dial up the Stein line. Kyrie Irving with a massive night tonight. What does his future potentially look like in a Dallas Mavericks uniform? We'll get into that, plus more of your reaction on how the Mavericks got it done against the Atlanta Hawks. All that coming up here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show.
First, got to tell you a little more about what we're doing here at DLLS Sports. Over the last few games, the Mavs have had some big wins. There's been a lot of new people watching from everywhere in the world, and you don't have to only live in Dallas to be a diehard Dallas sports fan. Whether you're a fan of the Mavs or the Cowboys or the Stars or the Rangers, there's a little bit of everything here for you at DLLS. And so like Kevin said, it would be a huge help for us if you could like our videos, comment, subscribe, rate, review the podcast, do all that stuff. But if you want to take your support one step further, you can scan that QR code right there. You can click the link in the description below, or you can go to alldlls.com/diehard to sign up and join the mighty elite ranks of the diehards, where for less than $7 a month, you can gain access to all the premium written content on our website, alldlls.com, post-game content from us here and from writers covering the other teams in town, with more on the way very soon. You also get to join the DLLS Diehard Discord Lounge. You also get a free shirt when you sign up.
Physical diehard card.
That's dang right. You also get a discount on future merch. And hey, keep an eye out for the Black Friday sale and Cyber Monday sale we got coming up very soon. That's going to be a great way to get some good deals. I want to shout out our 4 newest diehards. Shout out to Bruce. Shout out Alex. Shout out Rodney. And shout out Kimberly. Shout out to the 4 of y'all, the newest diehards. It's a great way to support what we're doing here, and it would really, really mean a whole heck of a lot. But don't worry, pregame, postgame is always going to be free right here on YouTube. Pretty soon we're going to be on a couple other platforms as well. I don't know when, so I'm not going to lie to you. But we will. We're going to be everywhere, all the time, all at once. And so thank you for being part of this journey with us.
AllDLLS.com. Become a diehard member today for just less than $7 a month. You get a free t-shirt, as Mark mentioned, that physical diehard card as well. Show off your membership and being part of our DLLS Sports family. Tag us on social media and we'll shout you out as well. And
Knicks up by 40 in Denver. Is that
That's
right?
spooky, because they're up next.
appreciate
Wednesday
all of you
night.
becoming diehard members
Damn.
here at DLLS Sports. You said
Did you
the
see-
Knicks are up by 40 on
36. I exaggerated.
That got out of hand quickly because it was a 20-point game.
And that game is
before
in
this
Denver.
ad break.
Denver. Oh, that's
Yeah.
in Denver?
Yeah.
Did you guys see Alfred Payton had 21 assists?
Oh my God. Does the NBA have to change the rules again?
Low key, I didn't even know Alfred Payton was back in the league, let alone dropping 21 dimes for the Pelicans. Congrats to him, I guess. By the way, Kristaps Porzingis, he made his return after dealing with that foot injury. He's back with the Boston Celtics as well. And plus, in other NBA news as well, the Phoenix Suns announcing that Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal both going to be back for the Phoenix Suns tomorrow.
Of course they are. It's a cup game.
That's right, Mark. It's an NBA Cup game, and both Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are back. So that's just some other NBA news as we now dial up the Stein line here after the Mavericks get the 10-point win on the road over the Atlanta Hawks to finish up the road trip at 2-1. They come back home on Wednesday to take on the New York Knicks. And, of course, Kyrie Irving special tonight, 16 of his 32 points in the fourth quarter, going bananas from the three-point line as the Mavericks were able to knock down 6 threes in what was a 13 of 19 performance from the field. But Mark, obviously for Kyrie Irving, has found a home here in Dallas, and him coming up with a player option this upcoming summer, what does the future start to begin to potentially look like for Kyrie Irving as he continues his career with Dallas?
Yeah, look, I think we all know it. We all see it. It's an open secret how happy Kyrie Irving has been in Dallas, how happy the Mavericks have been with him, the partnership that was formed last season. They went all the way to the finals. But our friend Tim McMahon, he was on the Hoop Collective podcast Friday. They were actually doing a discussion about the top trios in the NBA, and Tim just started talking about Kyrie's future, so kind of brought some focus onto a subject that we really haven't talked about much. But what I wrote about Sunday, because this really hasn't been discussed either, Kyrie would only be he's not extension eligible until July. And first he would have to opt in to the final year of his contract by June 25th. But what it really means is, and look, those are just specifics. Either he opts in and extends on his current deal, or he opts out and does a new deal. It really is one or the other. The expectation around the league certainly is that Kyrie Irving is going to be here for the foreseeable future. Dallas is the home he has established. But what the contract stuff really underlines is just what a massive summer is coming up for Dallas. And obviously, we're not even 20 games into the season yet. And this is a team with high hopes for what it can do this season after going to the finals. But just, you do have to keep in the back of your mind what a huge offseason is forthcoming, because Luka is eligible for a contract extension that would be the largest contract in league history. It would replace the Tatum deal, a 5-year deal worth almost $350 million. Luka's going to be eligible for that in July. Plus, Kyrie Irving's future has to be sorted out as well, whether he opts in or opts out. And you would imagine that he's going to want an extension or a new deal, either one way or the other. He's going to want a multi-year deal and not go into next season just on the final year of his deal. So this offseason, again, the focus now, tomorrow, next month, January, for months ahead, is this season and what this team can achieve on the back of a trip to the NBA Finals. But you still have to remember, this upcoming summer, the two franchise guys, it's a huge summer, and we're talking many, many, many millions of dollars for new ownership. Patrick Dumont, I mean, these will be his checks now that he's writing. But again, Luka's up for a 3. I mean, it's these numbers are just going to keep going up every year. The next free agent and the next marquee free agent, that number is just going to keep rising.
Sure.
And Luka's up for what will be the first basically $350 million contract in league history. And like I said, a year or two later, someone else will pass it up.
Can I add a quick +1 to that? This summer, P.J. Washington is also extension
I'm about to
eligible.
say that, yep.
Daniel Gafford is also going to be entering the final year of his contract next year. And Maxi Kleber is going to be on an expiring contract. And the second apron is a very possible reality. Certainly the first apron. Some big decisions to make.
Quentin Grimes looking for a new
Grimes,
deal.
RFA, yeah.
And that's saying, and we know that obviously the Dumont and Adelson families have all these resources, but this will really be the first time we see them and how they attack this and what kind of spending we're going to see. I mean, they love the core of this team. You don't really have that much flexibility to change it. So you would like to think they're bringing back everybody, whatever the bill is.
Kyrie Irving off to a spectacular start coming into tonight's game, averaging over 24 points per game, shooting over 52% from the field, shooting over what is nearly 48% from the three-point line. He's been spectacular offensively, really playing at an all-star-like level for the 32-year-old. So obviously for him, making a trip to the NBA Finals, having the kind of leadership role on this team that he has, but also the production that he continues to have, it has been fun to watch him be able to put it all together in what is an important year for him from a financial standpoint, but also when you start thinking about his long-term future as well and where he wants to retire and finish his career at. Dallas is in prime position. And this goes back to Nico Harrison taking the calculated risks to bring Kyrie Irving to this franchise, and Kyrie paying it off with his play on the floor, but also what he has been off the floor for this team as well, and the leadership and the culture building that he's helped put together for this Mavericks locker room. It's been a near perfect fit for him, and obviously his growth with Luka-Doncic, a big reason why it feels like he needs to be here long-term for this team, given the success that they can believe that they can have with him remaining around here for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's 32, he's 33 later this season. There's still plenty of the Kyrie Irving we saw tonight hopefully
Dirk was that age when they won the championship. Like, to give you an idea, like,
Yeah, smaller guard, but one of the best shooters alive. I think absolutely this is, I hope he retires in Dallas. I hope that this last arc of his career is everything that he wants it to be, because he's a player I very much enjoy watching.
He's so much fun to watch, man.
Yeah.
He's just so much fun to watch. He's just so much. I've said it so many times. It really is just a.
We'll say it one more time.
It is a pleasure to watch him play basketball every night. He, like, a big, huge common complaint from even people who love basketball, and trust me, I love basketball, but a big complaint from a lot of basketball fans, a lot of NBA fans, diehard fans that live and breathe this thing, is that the stars just don't care. The stars are just mailing it in and skipping games and just complaining all the time, and they're flopping all over the place, and Kyrie doesn't do any of that.
You saw tonight how much he cares.
Yes.
The dude is sick.
He is barely able to move.
Yeah, he's
sick
and
with
for
it,
three
though.
quarters he didn't have it, and he found it.
And he treats every game like a blank canvas that he can use to express himself. It is art whenever he's out there. He's creating something. He's doing things that no one has ever even tried before. Every single player on the court loves him. There's a meme of me getting this close to my laptop so I could read what he wrote on an autographed jersey he gave to Peyton Watson after beating the Nuggets, and Watson liked it so much he took it to the press conference with him. Like, opponents, teammates alike idolize the guy. Like, he brings that out in everybody, and that dichotomy, for as many fans kind of complain about Luka's demeanor at times and attitude and how much he complains and stuff. Like, Kyrie just is so unfazed all the time. He just has this very calming, galvanizing effect on everybody, and he does incredibly cool stuff. And he's a great shooter. Like, he's just so much fun to watch.
I see a super chat from On the Ground in Atlanta from my guy, Elliot Eitzman.
He's got the $4.99 super chat. Says, I was at the game tonight. It was an absolute masterclass from Kyrie. A lot of sad Hawks fans leaving the arena. It feels like every time the Mavericks all of a sudden set foot in Atlanta, they're getting epic performances from Dallas Mavericks. The last time the Mavericks were in Atlanta, lukadoncic dropped 73 on them. And now tonight, Kyrie Irving goes smooth off for 16 of his 32 in that fourth quarter, putting on a show for the folks in hot Atlanta as well.
You remember the last time? So before the Luka game, before the 73, at the end of the 22-23 season, the Mavs go to Atlanta at the end of the year, and Kyrie goes super ultra mega nova the way he did tonight. He finished the game with like 45 or something, and the Mavs lost because they couldn't get enough stops down the stretch.
I do not remember, because I do not, unlike you, remember every single Mavericks game for the last 25 years.
The game before that, when they went to Atlanta,
game.
was season opener 21-22, first game of the kid era. The first two plays of the game were Dorian Finney-Smith post-ups, and Twitter had some opinions, guys. Weird stuff happens in that building.
I was actually at that game in Atlanta.
That was a tough one.
What was the game you remembered tonight?
Oh my God!
Do we have time for that story?
Oh yeah,
Of course, it's a great story to end the show with.
Oh yeah, so
I'm a soft Landis, and I'm gonna let Bobby tell the story.
Yeah, so it was Bogdanovic tonight. He took Gafford off the dribble and just kind of wasn't moving too fast, and Gafford still couldn't keep up with him, and Bogey lays it in, and I was like, that reminds me of a play against the Mavs a long time ago. I'm pretty sure it was Bogey that made it. Wait a minute, it was against DeAndre, so it would have been a Mavs-Kings game. It had to be early in the year because DeAndre was still playing. It must have been in December. Oh, it was, and then I found the exact play in like 30 seconds, and I was like, yeah, I have problems.
But didn't you remember? I thought it was Bielitsa, and didn't you remember that?
No, it was Bogdanovic.
Oh, it was Bogdanovic.
Yeah, whenever he was still with the Kings. Yeah, I remember the whole thing. I remembered exactly what happened. Bogey comes around a screen. Luka thinks DeAndre is going to pick him up. DJ just stands there and watch. Bogdanovic lays it in, and that clip was making its way around the internet for quite a long time after that. I remember a lot of stuff, and
you're a sicko.
You're a basketball sicko.
It's a problem. It's a problem, guys. So whenever I have an opinion, trust me, I've thought about it a lot.
He's thought about it
way more than you. It doesn't mean I'm right. It just means I have problems.
For the folks joining us here on our DLLS Mavs podcast on the television side, we really appreciate you hanging out with us here on the DLLS Mavs post-game show. And don't worry, we're not going anywhere as we continue here on our post game show. Again, thank you for all of you joining us here on our show. Shout out to Elliot. He also says that he was at the Luka 73-point game. He says,
Dang, dude.
I guess I can't miss a game when they play here.
You got to get this man season tickets.
Clearly, or at least
the DLLS Atlanta correspondent.
every time they play in Atlanta. Also, let me go back to is it Theo 3 and D? Shout out to him. New subscriber. He
let's
says,
go. Let's
go, Theo.
Absolutely, I could tell this channel is well planned out and organized, and I subscribe.
Let's go.
And we'll definitely tune in the rest of the season. I'm a Duke fan, obviously. I'm for Kyrie and Derek Lively. Shout out to you, Theo 3 and D.
Dude, I'm a Kyrie and Lively fan too.
Well,
I feel
he's
like
got
I
a
have
hell
lot
of a
in common with
game.
Theo.
He's got a hell of a game to watch tomorrow because number 1 Kansas is taking on number 11 Duke and Cooper Flagg. That's going to be a hell of a basketball game. I'm gonna be tuned in to watch.
Former future Mav Cooper Flagg.
What
the
are
way
you doing,
things were
bro?
going about a week and a half ago.
That is very true. I'm about to say,
We're
where are
like,
you
it
going
might
with
happen,
that?
guys.
Yeah, that's what it
you've
felt
lost
like.
faith?
Oh, the Mavs are down to 14th in the lottery right now. So I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be capturing.
But they do have the 32nd pick overall too. So they got 14 and 32. That's almost enough to package it up, move up.
You'd think Cooper Flagg might just slip.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You want to hear something real funny? I saw this
I love funny
statistic
stuff.
Me too.
earlier today. So of course the Sixers are having a season from hell right now.
They are.
I believe they're what 2 and 13 or 3 and 13? One of the two. Guess who owns the top 6 protected picks for the Philadelphia 76ers?
OKC.
It's OKC, isn't it?
It's Oklahoma City. They own those picks from the Philadelphia 76ers. From Dirk Nowitzki.
Ben Selheim, the cord has been here the whole time.
The whole time. It hasn't gone anywhere.
Just had to reconfigure it.
From Dirk Nowitzki, Bobby is a top 4 DLLS
That's
host.
right, Dirk. Thank you, Dirk.
Shout out to you, Dirk. Appreciate you joining us here.
I would say Dirk is a top 4 Mav of all time.
I would
And
say he's
he-
a top 4 human.
Oh, wow.
That's a pretty good list. Top 4 human of all time.
Yeah.
That's pretty high praise.
I don't know if there are any circumstances that could get him to actually watch this show.
He's
he-
been on the
he
show.
was been on the
We're
show,
good.
Been on the show is
Yeah, we're good.
different than watching the show.
That's all right.
true. Okay, the next time he calls in, we should leave him in the waiting room for like 30 minutes that he has to watch.
We will not. We will not because he probably wouldn't ever come
No, he
back on the
probably
show.
would politely sit there.
But again, the Mavericks find a way to get it done on the road. Illness abound on this team. Hopefully, by the time they come back to Dallas on Wednesday, they will all be pretty much better. In fact, before we end our show, let's take a quick look ahead to that game because we are off tomorrow, but we'll be back on
Wednesday night,
Yeah.
the Knicks in the house.
Yeah,
Oh my
the
God.
New York
Jalen
Knicks.
Brunson with a career high 15 assists tonight in Denver.
A team with a stretch big. What could possibly go wrong
Jalen
defensively?
Brunson, Rick Brunson, it's going to be huge.
Speaking of Dirk Nowitzki, of course, Karl Anthony Towns self-proclaiming himself that this is
Cat.
going to
Bomb 25
Our
threes
first
in that
look
game.
at
I'm
Cat
already
as a
having
Knick.
nightmares about that.
of Karl Anthony Towns shooting a bunch of threes.
Get
against
well
the-
soon, Derek Lively.
Yeah, no, get well soon. But yeah, the Knicks come in town on Wednesday. That game will tip off at 6:30 p.m. Early thoughts on that game, as Mark Stein mentioned, Jalen Brunson with a career high 15 assists tonight. Karl Anthony Towns in the new look New York Knicks offensively on fire so far this year. Tim, early thoughts on the Knicks coming into town on Wednesday?
It's exciting. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
3 yeahs out of you today. What's wrong?
Nothing's
wrong?
wrong. I'm excited. I don't know. I haven't thought. I haven't
You said
broken
yeah
down
3 times. That's so
Yeah.
unlike you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Bridges
by
and
the
OG
way,
on Kyrie is
the
going to be
guy
tough.
who's
man.
pretending to be Dirk would never just say Mark. So you just outed yourself as a total fraud.
Damn.
Mark.
Damn.
I don't
a good
know
point.
who's going to guard Jalen Brunson. Naji Marshall, get well soon.
The knife.
I know who's going to guard Kyrie. Kyrie, get well soon. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, but I'm excited. I'm
be a
excited
fun
for
one.
some basketball.
I should ask
Yeah.
if we and Mark, if you have any reporting on it. If you don't, no problem. As far as Luka is concerned, obviously dealing with the wrist injury, Maverick said he'll be reevaluated in a week. Is there any progress toward his return? Or obviously you had mentioned that he would be most likely out for the game against the New York Knicks.
Well, it's a curious situation because all I know is he's been working out a ton, stayed behind, didn't travel so he could focus on wrist rehab, getting the rest of his body right. The team said he's out for a week. The team said he will be reevaluated in a week. That was Thursday. A week from Thursday is Thanksgiving. The Knicks game is obviously Wednesday, but has he been a bazillion % ruled out of the Knicks game? I genuinely don't have the answer to that question. Based on the timetable that was given, yes, but
It would be funny. It would be nice. It would be cool.
It would just
It'd
be
give
nice
us another reason to be thankful.
Yeah. It would just be nice to see a fully healthy Knicks team versus a fully healthy Mavericks team.
Do we know anything about Clay, by the way? Is this just a situational thing, or what?
I thought it wasn't it illness? Or did
No,
they announce
Left
an
plantar
injury?
fascia.
left plantar fascia?
Okay,
for-
yeah. Tomorrow I will get on the phone. Unfortunately, we don't have a show tomorrow, but the team, we have to let them get home, and then I will get to work.
Okay. Look forward
Ask
to.
the hard questions and demand answers.
We'll get those answers for you. You can always dial up the Stein line for our national NBA insider, Mark Stein at the Stein line. The Mavericks get it done tonight against the Atlanta Hawks, 129-119. A stellar fourth quarter for Kyrie Irving sets hot Atlanta on fire from the three-point line as the Mavericks now 10-8 on the season finish up their road trip at 2-1 before they take on the New York Knicks on Wednesday. We will have our pregame show beginning at 5:45 p.m. on Wednesday. Again, we are off on Tuesday. We'll be back
Is it
on
early
Wednesday.
tip?
Yep, 6:30. 6:30
glad you
tip off
told
at
me.
the American Airlines Center.
I'm glad you-
We love
I'm glad
an
you
early
told
tip
me. It's
time.
only 10 o'clock.
That's right. We love an early tip time in the association.
Shows you how close attention I'm paying.
So
I need you to lock in, Mark.
Lock in, damn it. Lock in. 5:45 p.m. pregame show. We'll be back on the postgame show 15 minutes afterwards as the Mavericks host Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. Shout out to all of you who joined us on our show as well. Well over 330 folks watching.
From Addison
well
all the
over.
way to Zimbabwe. Thank you for watching.
Appreciate all of you. Y'all
I
the
made
real
up the
MVP.
Z.
The Philippines. Let's go.
It was the first Z country I came up with. So.
That's right. Y'all the real MVPs. And again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports here on YouTube. Also, download and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free. Give it a 5-star rating. Write a review for it while you're there. We would really appreciate that in supporting us here on DLLS Mavs. For our national NBA insider, Mark Stein, our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Carroll. That's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. Mavericks in 129-119 over the Atlanta Hawks. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.